Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. BTM here, bringing you an awesome match here on New England. It's a 3-on-3. I'll be playing red. I'll be playing Japanese. I'm a sergeant. I'm allied with purple, who will be playing as British. He's a master sergeant, and also allied with orange, who is playing as Japanese, and he is a second lieutenant. I'm actually the lowest rated person in this game. That's our team of 3, and we're facing against a team of 3 with a Spanish, a Russian, and a British. The Spanish in blue, the Russian in yellow, the British in green, all of them master sergeants. So all around it's fairly even teams. We have the highest rated player on our team, but also the lowest. And they have 3 dead even players, kind of the middle point, if that makes any sense whatsoever. So right off the bat, let's jump into the action and get the show on the road. I started off, unfortunately, with a coin crate instead of a third wood crate, which means I'm automatically, as soon as I gather the starting wood, I'm going to build a consulate, and then I'm going to shift my villagers to getting that 107 wood, or 106 I believe actually, to build my shrine as soon as possible. And my goal is going to be to micromanage it so precisely to the point where I can get my consulate built, get the Portuguese allies, then build my shrine without sacrificing any time in villager production. I have 140 food, plus I have a villager already coming, or 3 villagers already on their way, ordered in queue, I guess you could say. I'm going to send 3 villagers to build the consulate, and I'm going to have that monk go by the herd of deer right there. That way I can have him ready to go. So it's a very, very stressful beginning to the game. It requires a little bit of micromanagement in order to efficiently pull it off. Now, right to begin with, I did decide to go with my water deck. The way New England works is there's a small bit of water along the bottom right side of the map with a trade route running down the middle, almost like cutting the map in half at an angle. So that's kind of what the map looks like. There's usage of water, but nothing amazing. However, I feel because the water is not the primary feature of this map, I might be able to get away with using the water and hopefully utilizing it and having an advantage there that nobody else does. So that's kind of what we did there. Now, as we're making our last villager of our 10, we're rushing to build our shrine up right here. And as you can see, just as we're about to run out, we're able to get another villager going. So we were able to perfectly pull off that little bit of a tricky ending there, getting our shrine up and our population going without losing any population and saving us about 40 to 50 wood, I think. Also making sure that our first stage wonder will be cheap and that we didn't sacrifice any time in making villagers, which is obviously very crucial in the early game. Now I'm kind of excited to play this game where I was, because I was playing with Orange, who was a second lieutenant Japanese player, right? So I automatically knew that he was a better player, so I'm going to watch him. Now, one thing about my strategy overall I was aware of is I was told in the comments by a guy in the last video, and I am super sorry I forgot your name, guy, but he said age with the shrine rather than the Torii gates, which gives you a barracks, and he actually makes a great point, and here's the reason why. With the Japanese strategy I'm using, the kind of boom with the shrines, your second card overall in the game and your first card in the Colonial Age is supposed to be the 600 wood, so you do have the wood to make barracks right off the bat anyway. Now here, by the way, I'm looking through their decks. I'm looking to see if any of them have any water cards, and the only one who did so far was Blue, but Blue's water cards were all like upgrades and improvements. He didn't have any direct water shipments. And that's kind of an interesting place, and that's something that's interesting with decks. You want to have a sweet spot of both. I have these deck cards, but at the same time you want to have some immediate, I'm sorry, I really messed that up. You want to have both long-term cards, which will be very important to you, but you also need to have a few key short-term cards. An example would be on a water map, you'd always want 2 caravels, or in Japanese they have their equivalent ship. You would always want that, because if you don't and the opponent has it and they send it, you automatically lose control of the sea. Now fortunately, I'm playing against him, and I see that he does not have that card, so I'm actually going to take advantage of him and the fact that he does not have that card, and I'm going to use that to my advantage. I'm going to send my 2 caravels in the second age and then take advantage of the ocean, but we'll get to that a little bit later. By the way, this was a really close game. It was a great game to play. Now, as you can see, we're coming into the Colonial Age. We're aging with the shrine. We have 6 villagers now on food, all the rest going onto wood, and we're going to get this Courier de Bois treasure. So all around things are going excellently for us. My teammates are coming to help me with this treasure, so we're actually going to be in a very, very strong point. And that was something actually interesting. I was actually one of the slower people to age every single time in this game. Although I don't remember how the Colonial age, but I know that to the Fortress and the Ages Beyond, I was definitely always like the last one to age, and they kind of were like, dude, come on, what are you doing? You're so far behind, and I was just kind of like, well, I don't need to be that far ahead, you know, I'm doing my job well where I'm at. But anyway, we started off the game really, really strongly here, I guess, proverbially. Our micromanagement and our shrine building, though, was not great, and I kind of felt like Orange took all the good shrines. I'm not complaining too much, but I definitely felt like Orange took all the good shrines, and I didn't want to shrine up all the herds by me. I know that Purple is playing as British, so I definitely didn't want to take all the nearby hunts away from him and force him onto mills any earlier than he needed to be. So I decided instead to try to build some of my shrines kind of around the back on the enemy side of the map, rather than try to force building shrines on my side near my British ally or encroaching in Orange's space, which was kind of a little bit of a weird decision, but it was what I felt was a smart choice. Now, hitting the second age, we are going to immediately get rid of our Portuguese ally. It's really kind of done its job, I guess. I'm not really going to be going to build anything too massive or amazing. I will build another wonder, but since at least when playing this, I assumed, okay, this game's going to be won and lost in the Colonial Age, there was no need for me to keep the Portuguese ally when I can get the Japan. I can get better group training. I can get another military barracks. I can also unlock the ability to train units in groups of 10. So that's kind of what was going on there. As you can see here, I'm trying to lure away really like anything I can from him, but not necessarily super successful, I guess. In the long run, all those shrines do eventually get destroyed, and there was not much I could do about it, so I ended up just letting them get destroyed. You know, what was I supposed to do there? So, not a wise choice in the long run, building my shrines along his side, but I really didn't know what else to do, if you can give me some credit. As you can see, Orange is kind of taking the major herds. I didn't want to encroach on Orange, and I definitely didn't want to stifle Purple's economy. I know how strong British is, and I did not want to make his life any more difficult than it was already going to be. So, anyway, we're going to build our 600 wood with our 2 barracks, and our second card in the Colonial Age, our third card overall, was the 2 Caravel equivalent ships. That was just because I knew that Blue was going to be fishing, and I couldn't just let him have it. We had to contest the water. He didn't have any Caravel, so even if he bothered to make a Caravel in a dock, right? Think about it. That's 300 wood and 100 gold for the Caravel, plus another 200 wood for the docks. That's 500 resources total. He invested all those resources into it, and I'm going to be able to send a card and just right immediately have more strength than he does on the ocean. As you can see here, he does have our teammate did build a fishing boat dock and has a few, but nobody's really actually fighting hard over the seas. Now at this point, I have some shrines up, but not a lot, and it seems like most of my shrines aren't really going to be optimally placed, kind of like they are on Great Plains. Let me take a drink really fast, guys. My voice is kind of a little sore this morning. Okay, so cavalry all over the map, by the way, and that's kind of something that's kind of like, but I'm going Ashigaru, so I'm not too stressed about it. Plus, my economy is relatively close to my town center, so I can take it in. Now, as we can see here, he has 2 docks, the equivalent of 400 wood on the map, and I'm actually going to just be able to straight out bomb them with my Fumi? They're called Fumi. Okay. I'm going to be able to bomb them with my Fumi, and I'm actually, my next card after that, my third card in the Colonial Age, will be 5 fishing boats. And the reason why is because if that's all he has, and he doesn't have warships, which of course doesn't make sense, you know, he wasn't probably expecting to contest this sea. Since I'm the only one with warships, I'm going to have control of the sea very quickly, and there won't be anything he can do about it. So, good position for us. Now, those docks were actually shooting back at us, ironically, and I noticed that in that, I don't think that's actually a worth it card, the advanced docks. I don't know if it makes docks cheaper, and it might be because of that, but if you look at the total damage on my ship that those docks did, not much at all. Now, at this point, though, we are able to get 5 fishing boats, equivalent of 5 more villagers on the map, and we have control of the ocean, which is great for us. Now, the reason why I sent 5 villagers is normally your card order should look like the Heavenly Kami in Age 1, 600 wood, and then you send the both 4 villager cards. But 5 fishing boats is better than 4 villagers twice. It's the equivalent of 10 fishing boats versus 4 villagers. Also, considering that I now control the sea, there's absolutely no danger of my fishing boats being raided as long as I'm vigilant, which I will be. Now I look here, I just check out, make sure that everything's under control. But I said, ocean is ours. I felt pretty triumphant in that moment, I won't lie. I mean, when you're playing with high ranked people, or you're the lowest ranked person in the party, you always kind of want to play well. I was kind of like, I want these guys to think, wow, we were playing with the sergeant on our team and he ended up being effing awesome. You know what I mean? So that was kind of my mentality here. Unfortunately, I have at many times forgotten to keep up villager production, but I do believe, if I am not mistaken, I am right up there with everybody in score. So, and that's of course because of the fishing boats being sent, but I could be doing better. Now at this point, my biggest and my next focus is going to be to hopefully grab some of the trade route and of course buy my market upgrades that I need. I've checked the ocean pretty thoroughly and I didn't see anything from him on the map. Now here I am going to try to move my home city drop point just to a little bit more central location to make travel easier, but it didn't happen in time before the boats already arrived, so it wasn't the end of the world. Now at this point I am just trying to get more shrines down on the map, trying to make sure that we get more barracks, and I am using the hotkey for barracks a little bit this match. You'll see it occasionally flash to my barracks out of nowhere, but sometimes I forget to. So my apologies guys, I didn't do well. And at this point, as you can tell, I am literally just putting shrines wherever. Most of the hunts are either being eaten or they're not safe place to put shrines, and my population is tied to my shrines. Now the reason why I built that shrine in particular in the middle of nowhere, I'm going to build some more shrines just randomly, is because I'm at the point now where I can spam Ashigarus. Let me see, I don't know why I didn't use my hotkey there. I know I used my hotkey at some other points in the game, so slightly disappointed in me not using my hotkey there, but I'm at the point where I can almost spam Ashigarus, so it's absolutely vital that I do not lose any it's absolutely vital that I do not lose any population, because if I lose, let's say 30 houses worth of population, I'll be in trouble. Now unfortunately, Blue did get a dock up and built, and this is kind of not good because he put a tower by it. Makes sense, good smart choice. I thought from here I was hitting it actually, but I don't know if I was, so I'm letting that hit there for a little bit. I'm going to send 4 villagers, and at this point I'm sending my 14th equivalent villager. I mean, I sent 10 boats already. Sending 4 villagers, that's a tremendous amount of economic strength coming to kind of back me up. I should be making military at this point. As you can see, I'm sitting on 1,000 food, over 500 gold. There we go, I hotkeyed right there. Got more Ashigaru coming to back up my already stellar amount of Ashigaru. I'm going to start grabbing these trading posts, and we've kind of pushed forward a little bit. However, I think I missed my teammates pushing forward. I didn't notice anything in chat or a flare on the map saying push in, so it kind of feels like we're, at least at this moment, a little bit independent. Now we're getting attacked by 10 Sterlets here, and I choose to engage, which may or may not have been a wise choice per se, but doesn't seem like the worst choice ever. I'm going to buy 2 more level 1 market upgrades. At this point I've realized, alright, I'm not going to take out the unfortunately for me, I'm not going to be able to take out the dock and the tower because of the tower being there. But what I definitely will be able to do is I will be able to just put some ships far away and then pick off his ships one at a time as he tries to make them, if he does indeed try to make them. So I'm going to, as soon as I think about it, which will be very, very soon in game, because I do remember doing it, I will build a my own dock, and then I'll start making some of my own warships. Now, I skirmished with yellow a little bit there. My massed Ashigaru definitely do not match up well against a mass of Sterlets, but it doesn't matter. By the way, I sent that rickshaw from my consulate to kind of back me up, and here's a dock I was telling you about. I'm going to put it up on the map, and at this point, I am very clearly leading the game in score by almost 30-40 points. I have 2 of the trading posts upgraded, by the way. Now I'm dominating in terms of economy and just doing well, and that's actually going to be great because I'm going to be able to just make men and just put men out on the map to fight with impunity. Unfortunately though, I'm making Ashigarus, and it seems like the person I'm always matching up against is yellow, and I really don't want to be matching up against a guy who is massing I really don't want to be matching up against a guy who's massing Sterlets, unfortunately for me. So that's why I did build that stable. I wanted to have the opportunity and the ability to start spamming out if necessary Naginata riders. However, I don't think I end up ever actually making them. I think I just stick to Ashigaru Musketeers. By the way, notice this game I did a lot better with keeping up with my home city shipments. We've pretty much been able to ship everything immediately. And that was just something I was alerted to, and I decided this game in particular just to spend a little bit more time focusing. And now I'm going to buy some big heavy-duty warships. I have 10 boats in the ocean, so I really don't want to lose access to any of the water. I don't want to have to challenge my supremacy in the water. I know that he will start making boats soon if he has not already. In all likelihood, he has a few boats built that are being kept near his dock, and he's going to build 2 or 3, or to the point where he thinks he can overwhelm me, and then he's going to try to take the ocean. Oh, I didn't upgrade the trade post, but I am doing it now. As you can notice, everybody's hit the 3rd age but me, unfortunately. But that's ironic because, one second, let me lean in and look at the score. I'm still leading the game in score by a pretty considerable amount, and I have a huge amount of men. So, and I think my next card's going to be Ashigaru Attack, unless I'm mistaken. So, let me see. Nope, my next move is going to be to grab the trade post. And it's kind of one of those things where it's like being given to me, so I don't feel really... I'm like, if you're going to give me the 3 trading posts, I'm going to upgrade them, I'm going to use the improvements, and then I'm going to use it to make a ton more men, you know? So anyway, we're going to run in here and kind of go for the big attack. Now, I noticed some massive strelets, so I immediately cut left to along the wall, hoping that I can either sneak off and give orange room to walk in behind me, or that I can find something else to engage. Unfortunately, I don't. I feel, though, with orange coming in, hopefully behind me, that was what I was thinking. Hey, orange, where are you? With him coming in behind me, we'll have enough combined numbers simply just to smash through anything that they have, and that does indeed look to be the case. It looks like we have almost 80 to 90 men comparing against their 30 to 40. Purple aged up and sent a caravel to his side of the map. It'd be or to our side of the map. It'd be helpful if he, of course, sent it to the other side of the map, but that's not coming. Now, unfortunately here, Green's marching in with a bunch of longbowmen, and longbow actually are a great counter to Ashigarus and Japan in general. If they're not massing Nagata, they have such a long range, they can hit run against samurais, and they can generally do a good job. Plus he has the advantage of upgraded musketeers. He now has veteran musketeers. Now at this point, though, I have 24 on wood, 13 on food, which is an awful villager ratio. I am making warships, which is good and will in the long run actually be a wise move. So my decision to do that was not stupid. This decision was stupid. I put those Ashigarus in melee mode when I think they would have been better served not taking fire from the longbowmen and just staying in volley mode. They probably would have done a little bit more damage to the other units. However, this battle soured quickly for us, and it's imperative that we back off and we're not in trouble there. Purple's marching in with a bunch of Hussar, but I don't want him to waste 10 or 1,000, 3,000 resources worth of Hussar in a battle he won't win. Orange needs to lick his chops and get his feet back on the road. I, fortunately, though, at this point I do control the trading post, so now I'm going to shift them all to food and getting a lot more resources. I'm still in the colonial age, but let me check the score one more time. I'm still leading, although I'm not leading by as big of a margin as I did previously, and the other team's score is definitely suffering a lot relative to ours, so definitely not the end of the world. Now, I am going to kind of move these ships around just a little bit there. I just wanted to see what was going on, and I'm going to keep making Ashigarus, and the biggest question of the day here is... the big question here is really, what are they doing relative to try to stop us? Are they massing cannon? Are they massing cavalry? Obviously, blue has used lancers to great success, but lancers aren't going to beat my lancers are not going to be able to beat my Ashigarus, and only cannons will. And purple's done a really good job massing Hussar on the field. So all around, we're in very, very good shape. Now, I was kind of surprised though here by how quickly the lancers ate through my Hussar, but I don't know if that was because there was, I don't know why actually. That was really kind of surprising to me how fast the lancers ate. I assumed he sent a card or two to buff them up a bit, whereas I of course have not sent my Ashigaru combat card yet, which I will be doing soon, but I'm a little bit behind in getting that done, and I am actually going to build some more shrines and continue maximizing my economy. At this point, though, I did send 2 more berry bushes, by the way, and that was just because I wanted to be able to get some villagers off of wood, which I had. I noticed that my economic balance was really, really funky, and it shouldn't have been that funky. So that's something we're going to fix immediately. Now, purple actually pushed by himself, then pretty much all the way back. I noticed orange is hanging back a little bit, and I'm clearly hanging back just mainly because I don't have a ton of men on the field at the moment. I kind of lost my army in that skirmish with the Lancers, but purple's done an excellent job with his Hussar, obviously, because yellow's been massing Strelets, and Sterlet mass will do nothing against Hussar. So all around, purple's taking advantages as he sees them and doing an excellent job. I should have already by this point, by the way, bought my 10 block training, and I do it here. I think about it actually just as I thought about it in combat. So it's good that I thought about it at some point, right? I'm also going to order 2 more warships. At this point, though, we definitely have a pretty good warship mass on the field, but there's some ships by Green actually on the field too. So he clearly wanted to try to take away our naval superiority. I'm actually going to have to back up, though, even though I'd like to just sail in and smash him, and I know that I could if he only has canoe things. As much as I would like to do that, I'm unfortunately aware that I can't take fire from that tower and still win. And he tells me here to age up. Both of them do, and it's kind of funny because when I look at the score, I'm actually not leading them anymore, although I'm still better than everybody on the other team who age. I'm still controlling and fighting over the ocean. I'm still providing most of the guys who are just providing the meat shield for Yumis, and yeah, I'm really just providing a ton of men to throw on the field to die, really. But military ineffectiveness aside, I guess I do need to age very soon, and I'm aware of that. So unfortunately, my biggest issue here is just really kind of balancing my economy. I haven't had a game with Japan go this long, so kind of, figuring out the teeter-totter, maintaining a steady Ashigaru flow, which I really felt was like important relative to aging. But we'll age very, very soon. And I'm going to shift my trade route here to a coin to kind of give me that little leg up, up and above. That way I can age really quickly. We are at this point, though, just straight out fighting for the ocean. However, those canoes don't look like they're going to be able to do that much. Unfortunately, it does look like he's kind of going to try to go destroy some other ships down our fishing industry. So it's very important that I get my warships where they can engage him. At this point, though, I'm a little bit more focused on that than I am the actual on-land fighting. Orange, by the way, is going to the industrial age, so he's clearly aging up, and it's not really wise, I guess, to stay in the colonial age as long as I tend to, but I always feel like I never really have a civilization which has a weak colonial. I always feel like I have a really strong colonial age, and I do well in terms of having a late colonial age aging, but I am going to age now, and I picked the Great Buddha really just on a whim. No, I wasn't quite sure actually what to age with, so I was like, well, I don't know, I'll pick the Buddha. But I did do that because I know that they allow you to see the other side of the map. I decided that that would be very, very helpful. Unfortunately, though, I am losing some fishing boats due to Green's attacking. I kind of got distracted. Not always the best at multitasking, but that's not the end of the world. I also did lose one of my trading posts, but at this point, I am still in excellent shape relatively. I am going to the 3rd age now, even though it's kind of late. And blue's already in the 4th age on the opposing team. So at the same time, though, here's my thought, and the reason why I generally age late. It makes absolutely no sense to age if you can't capitalize on the fact that you age. You know what I mean? You spend 2,400 resources, or actually I think 2,200 resources aging to the... you spend 2,200 resources aging to the 2nd age, right? Or to the 3rd age, pardon me. And then you have no more resources to do anything else. That's kind of stupid in my opinion, and it slows down your economy. So I didn't really feel too distraught about putting off my aging as long as my economy was still growing and my military was functioning well. However, I'm at a point where my military is not functioning amazingly, so we're going to want to make sure that our military does do better. Unfortunately, I am losing my trading post rapidly, so we are going to have to, again, teeter-totter our economy just a little bit and fix it up. But on the bright side, we can now spy on our enemy, and we're going to get to do that and get first-hand knowledge and see everything on the map. And that's good because now our allies will be able to kind of hit and run a little bit more efficiently. In fact, if we look here, there's purple. He's doing a good job. And I'm able to see that I do indeed control pretty much most of the ocean. And despite some initial losses of some fishing boats, I didn't lose much. Now at this point, I do want to upgrade Ashigaru. That was the whole point of getting to the 3rd age, really upgrading the Ashigaru to another level. So I will very, very quickly, in fact, right now, I will be building a separate barracks to... No, don't build a rice paddy. Build a separate barracks. I said build a separate barracks. Well, I'm going to get the economic upgrades, so that's one part of my plan. But I will be building very, very shortly a separate barracks. That way I can upgrade my Ashigaru. I probably should have had a 3rd barrack on the field a lot sooner than it actually took me to get a 3rd barracks on the field. But, no, it's not the end of the world, I guess. Either way, though, we're still fighting at that central trading post. And here I'm actually going to send refrigeration. I'm still focusing on my economy. I was just kind of like, you know what? If I can afford to keep making men, then in the long run I'm going to be in great shape, because I don't think they can afford to keep making men. Their score just generally has been struggling a lot. Yeah, I'm actually better score-wise than all of them. And at this point, Blue actually had resigned, which I'm not quite sure why. I guess maybe, you know, he just realized that he wasn't going to win, or the fact that despite the fact that I had just aged up to the 3rd age, my economy was pretty monstrous and I was playing pretty well. I do have another barracks coming up, and I realize now, though, I can train units in blocks of 10. So look at that. We're going to have 20 Ashigaru coming on the field pretty quickly. But at this point, it's pretty much a GG. We're just going to mop it up. We controlled the ocean. Oh, that's why Blue quit. I think Blue quit when the bid to kind of control the ocean failed. I think he realized that there's not much more he can do, considering that he lost, or that they lost the ocean and now we have unfettered access to the water and the resources of that, and our military is continually just smashing them. So I assume that's why he's doing it. Now I let Purple know at this moment, hey, look, you're in a little bit of trouble here, but he's going to actually end up delegating that to me, saying, come save me, or I can't do anything. I say, I got your back, my homeboy. I will. I really like my avatar, by the way. So, I'm on my way, though, with a bunch of Ashigaru, and it's just mop up at this time. So all around is a really fun game to play. I guess the biggest lesson to be learned, the biggest takeaway from this game for you guys is, 1, be mindful of how you balance your economy. I had a lot of teeter-totter moments, you know, where I had 30 on wood, and then I had 30 on coin, then I had 30 on food, and I wasn't a very, very good, stable player this game. That's something I definitely need to improve on, but something I will get better at, I guess, as gameplay time goes on. Also, something I need to improve on is, or something I guess you can take away from the game, is always have the 2 Caravel card in your deck. No matter what civilization you are, if there's water involved, you will not win the ocean without the 2 Caravel card. Just know that. You will never, ever, ever win the ocean without the 2 Caravel card. Because if your enemy has a 2 Caravel card in, you will lose the ocean immediately, as you can see happened with me. Or with me gaining the ocean. I had 2 Caravels. He had advanced dock and probably some fishing cards from what we saw of his deck. But I was able, you know, just having the 2 Caravel card to just be like, nope, mine. And he didn't ever really recover from that. So that's kind of the biggest things we learned. But all around is a fun game. I really, really enjoy going this game as the lowest ranked player. It always actually inspires me to play well when I'm kind of like on a team and I feel confident in my team and I know I'm not the best. And as you can see here, we're going to send Royal Mint, but for the most part we've actually done a really good job with just making sure that cards from our home city are being utilized well. And at this point, breaking through Green's wall, he decides to give up, and soon Yellow will give up as well. But if he doesn't, I will push and destroy straight to his town center with my batches of 10 Ashigaru Musketeers that are being spammed out. But with Purple's Hussar as a meat shield and my Ashigarus, which are now upgraded, tearing through them, there's not much more they can do. Now, all around things I took away from this game is I need my early game micromanagement to be better. I need my economic balancing to be better. There's definitely some work in terms of just polishing my gameplay I can do, but I definitely felt like I played pretty well and I understand Japan well enough now to hold my own. And all around it was a fantastic, fantastic fun match. I kind of got a kick out of just looking around the map. Now, you know, I kind of felt like relatively like everybody kind of looked on me like, oh my gosh, that guy's still in the Colonial, or oh my gosh, that guy's still in the Fortress Age, you know. But I really felt like I did a great job holding my own, and I was not in trouble at all despite the age I was in. You know what I mean? And in fact, I was really shocked when I went to the post game. Most resources. Granted, I did control the ocean more than anybody else, and I did use the trading route, but that was my choice, you know? So that's good for me, because now I know that if I had done a little bit better on land, I would have had more resources, but that also tells me that my methods worked, you know what I mean? So my land play will definitely improve, but my overall ability to control and utilize everything on the map was fantastic. You know, I used what I had to my ability, and I was able to carry myself decently. So that's really, really important. That's kind of the takeaway I got from there. Now, something else that was kind of a little bit interesting was military-wise. I was a close second, but my military was not very efficient, but neither was Yellow's, who was the first. So, unfortunately, I spammed a little bit, probably more than I should have with Japan. Japan isn't really super made for spamming, but on the bright side, it wasn't the end of the world in this case, just because of how the game got played. I unfortunately ended up fighting yellow or green a lot, who were both massing skirmishers. So I really should have probably just shifted to Naginata riders, but that was my newish mistake, right? Anyway, thank you guys for watching. It has been a pleasure. I loved this match, actually. I just loved it. I loved fighting on the ocean. I loved fighting on the land. I loved having trading posts. It was like all my favorite things in one. Plus, it was on New England, which is just not a map we get to play very often. However, at this point, probably nobody's actually watching the video, because apparently attention viewer span of an average video is like 8 minutes. So shame on you guys. But thanks for watching. And before we go, we do have a quote of the day today from Sun Tzu and the Art of War, and it says, "In battle, there are not more than two methods of attack, the direct and the indirect, yet these two in combination give rise to an endless series of maneuvers." Anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Good luck, happy hunting, and until next time, BTM is out.